The 80th anniversary is today, and the youngest one of those guys is 96. So by the 110th, they'll be... That's awesome. President turned on that classic Biden charm, telling one of the veterans, God willing, we'll see you at the 110th anniversary. That's awesome.
What do you get when you combine scandal, a seductive Hollywood reward, 34 felony counts, and the shattered ego of Donald Trump? Savage Trump would have to apply aloe vera to his burned back end after watching Stephen Colbert roast. On The Late Show last night, Stephen Colbert honored the valiant men who stormed Normandy's beaches on D-Day 8 decades ago. Colbert was the one that expertly incorporated some traditional Trump pander humor. Jokingly, he said that this date was the turning point in the history of defeating the Nazis, the real ones, not the gloomy reboot. Colbert's most recent dissection of the outgoing president is a hilarious masterclass in dissecting Trump's fabrications and absurd defenses. At the Zing the event, President Biden enthralled the crowd. Actor Tom Hanks, who has played more 1940s heroes than you can toss a bayonet at, was dubbed the King of World War II by Colbert's when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Hanks attended to celebrate the veterans.
80th anniversary of D-Day, or as they call it in Chicago, Da-Day. To commemorate the sacrifices of World War II, leaders from all around the world visited Normandy today, including President Biden, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and the King of World War II, Tom Hanks. Hanks appears behind you and makes an amazing and kind of funny speech that makes you proud to be an American.
The real surprise, though, is this. Of the about 150 American veterans in attendance, 24 had fought on D-Day. The youngest, a lively 96-year-old, remarked that although these heroes had done an incredible job, they had once again made Joe Biden appear youthful in contrast. President Biden used the opportunity to draw some stark parallels between the fight against fascism's rebirth today and the greatest generation that previously overthrew it. Using rough and tumble Stephen Savage as an example, he made a quick statement to lighten the mood, saying that given Trump's previous felony convictions, the NYPD is getting ready to revoke his weapons license.
The NYPD is preparing to revoke his license to carry a gun. Biden invoked the generation that beat fascism in the 40s to beat it again in the 2020s. And the NYPD is doing their part in this fight because now that Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies.
From the streets of New York to the beaches of Normandy, it appears that the struggle against tyranny is still going strong. Stephen is one of those people who can find fun while battling fascism. We should all pause to recognize the remarkable sacrifices made by our World War II heroes. He has a talent for blending the serious with the amusing, and the serious with the irreverent.
And here's President Biden spending time with one of those heroes. And once again, these vets did an incredible service to their nation. They made Joe Biden look young. President Biden was joined by approximately 150 American veterans, including 24 who actually fought on D-Day, the youngest of whom is 96.
Furthermore, acknowledge the power of satire when faced with adversity, as a well-timed joke can occasionally be the most successful way to subdue a bully. Stephen Colbert mocked Trump's ridiculous assertion that Joe Biden somehow planned payments to a porn star in his signature, humorous manner. Trump's legal issues came to the forefront as the former president's response to his 34 felony convictions was harsh. He also mocked the former president's well-known Fifth Avenue boast, saying, "I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and I don't know, give someone a purple knurl, a sack, tap an atomic wedgie, and I wouldn't lose a single vote, not a single vote."
Tell you what, I could still stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and I don't know, give someone a purple nurple, sack tap, atomic wedgie, I wouldn't lose a single vote.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
Not a single vote. Hit him with the rubber band. Wow. Wet Willie.
The roast continued as Colbert made fun of Trump's appearance on Hannity, during which the troubled president lamented the awful things they were doing and the need for them to stop. This means that if a guy hits you on the cheek, I can respond accordingly, just like Jesus instructs us in the Bible. Smashing Hulk, the audience was spellbound by Colbert's impeccable imitation and witty repartee, which brought Trump's self-righteous indignation over his own legal problems into sharp relief. However, Colbert wasn't done yet. He emphasized the absurdity of Biden's apparent lack of control over the New York state court system and Trump's accusation that Biden is weaponizing the Justice Department. By reminding viewers that the DOJ is now investigating Democratic Cori Bush and prosecuting Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar, the comic handed a fatal blow to Trump's conspiracy theories and further undermining his baseless charges. Colbert gleefully revealed that Hunter Biden, the president's son, is even facing charges from Biden's DOJ for allegedly lying about his drug use on a gun purchase form.
The Department of Justice is actually presently prosecuting Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar, investigating Missouri Democrat Cori Bush, and is presently trying Biden's son Hunter, allegedly lied on a gun purchase form when he said he wasn't using drugs. Wait a second, it's against the law to buy guns while using drugs?
The host's razor-sharp humor and impeccable timing made it quite clear that Trump's claims of a totalitarian court system coordinated by Biden were nothing more than delusional rants as the audience burst into laughter. Colbert couldn't resist making one final attempt, humorously refuting the notion that Biden had a fascist goal by bringing up the Department of Justice's indictment of New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez. The comedian reminded us of the importance of satire and holding powerful people accountable with his unrelenting criticism of Trump's legal problems and his skillful dismantling of the former president's unfounded accusations. Colbert couldn't resist making fun of the former president's clumsy attempt to give kids life advice in a hilarious spoof. The late-night presenter Drew makes analogies between Nancy Reagan's famous Just Say No anti-drug campaign from the 1980s and Trump's direct guidance. Colbert, who is well known for his perfect impressions, mesmerized the audience with his rendition of Trump's dull and childish remarks. No drugs, no alcohol, I say. I'd also tell them about my friend's smoking addiction and how they don't smoke. Interview. The comedian's over-the-top portrayal highlighted how absurd Trump's advice was. It lacked coherence and refinement and instead resembled the directness of Reagan's campaign. The humorous parallel brought attention to Trump's clumsy language and lack of style. It brought to mind the well-known PSA made by Nancy Reagan. Just declare that you don't use alcohol or drugs. You ought to add that you don't own any cigarettes.
Reminds me of Nancy Reagan's famous PSA, just say no drugs, no alcohol. Just also say no cigarettes. Don't have the cigarettes. Don't have the cigarettes. Don't have them. I have friends. They can't stop smoking.
The true punchline came when Colbert remarked, "We miss you," after his portrayal of Trump. The audience exploded in amusement as Colbert highlighted the irony of Trump's attempt to be a role model for the nation's youth. This brilliant stance brought to light the sharp contrast between Trump's meandering, unplanned words and Reagan's well-planned and memorable anti-drug campaign. Throughout his presentation, Colbert gave a political satirical master lesson. Colbert's humorous comparison between Trump's actions and Reagan's youth policies highlights Trump's absurdity and the need for a more rational and intelligent leader. Colbert showed that he could find humor in the most unlikely places with his roast, Outreach, which highlighted Trump's awkward attempt to become a mentor. Colbert entertained his audience while also shedding light on the incompetence of the previous president and the longing for a bygone age. Irony abounds as leaders speak with greater poise and purpose, debunking Trump's accusations that Joe Biden weaponized the Justice Department. Comedian Colbert believes that it is as ridiculous as claiming that Jesus said in the Bible that the Hulk is in control of the DOJ. Biden is the department's leader. The DOJ is actively prosecuting several Democrats, including Congressman Henry Cuellar and Missouri Democrat Cori Bush. Biden is not in charge of the New York state court system. Biden's own son, Hunter, is currently on trial for allegedly lying on a gun purchase form about his drug use. Cuellar, unable to contain his laughter, jokes that if Biden had been in charge, maybe he would have stepped in to stop the DOJ from pursuing businessman and New Jersey Democrat Bilbo Menendez Roberto. The late-night host's wit is on full display as he employs humor to expose the absurdity of the former president's claims and draws attention to the stark contradictions in Trump's logic. It's customary. The jokes don't stop there, though, as Colbert employs humor to cut through the muddle and reveal the true nature of the situation behind the political posturing. While criticizing Trump's use of vivid language, Colbert draws attention to his references to the Gestapo fascist assassin and Count Mussolini. In his rendition of Trump's rambling accusations, the comic expertly portrays the former president's use of hyperbole and strange parallels. It's a reminder that even though he's mired in serious legal problems, Trump still finds it simple to make up a narrative and point the finger at his rivals as Colbert persistently disproves his baseless accusations. It's becoming clear that the former president's address was more about spin than substance, as many investigations center on him. Trump is trying to deflect attention from himself, as Colbert so eloquently shows, but the evidence just does not support his grandiose claims of a politically motivated witch hunt. This passage is a wonderful example of Colbert's use of humor to expose the absurdity and irony of Trump's accusations, expose the truth, and hold those in positions of power accountable. The comic serves as a helpful reminder that we must uphold reality despite absurdity and refuse to let orange turrets or hollow words bring us down. Other political views exist except those of Trump. Take Senator Bob Menendez, who became the object of Colbert's mockery because of his dubious accusations of corruption. Gold bars, enormous sums of money, a stunning Mercedes convertible, and even having his mortgage paid off are all stated in relation to Bobby Boy, who is suspected of embezzlement.
Plus, if Biden was really pulling the strings, maybe he would have stopped the DOJ from prosecuting New Jersey Democrat and business Bilbo Robert Menendez. Senator Menendez is currently on trial in New York, where he and his wife Nadine are accused of accepting gold bars, cash, a Mercedes convertible, mortgage payments in exchange for using political influence to enrich and protect 3 New Jersey businessmen. I know what you're thinking when you hear New Jersey businessmen.
And what did he allegedly do in return? According to Legal Eagles, was help a few wealthy Jersey businesses become even wealthier by using his political influence. That man is a fine, honest guy, so why is he trying to discredit his unfortunate wife in order to get out of it? According to Colbert, men are from Mars, and females having a locked closet full of wealth sounds realistic. Although Menendez, in his exquisite defense, claims he didn't have a key, but evidently wifey had a concealed, locked closet full of all that filthy money and jewelry. But there's still more.
Menendez's lawyers claim he did not have a key to his wife's locked closet, where investigators discovered envelopes of cash and gold bars. They're 2 different people. It's like that old book, Men Are From Mars, Women Keep a Locked Closet Full of Gold.
Menendez was also involved in some questionable meat exports to Egypt. The meat had to be halal in order to be approved, which is why it was referred to as halal, and the order's horde of victim units.
Allegedly, Menendez pressured regulatory officials to stand back after one of his cronies was granted the sole right to certify that meat exported to Egypt from the United States conformed to Islamic dietary requirements. Halal in order. Shawarma victims unit.
Kebab.
All this led one official to call Menendez a villain in an Egyptian meat controversy. And you do not want to be the villain in an Egyptian meat controversy.
Now, you would think that with all of this scandalous stuff going down, Menendez would keep a low profile. But no, this genius decided to have a sit-down at Morton's Steakhouse, bold as brass. And the FBI started snooping on him there back in 2019. Stephen Colbert reckons Menendez was willing to risk it by breaking bad so publicly. Either that or the dude just really loves his steak. Speaking of steak, Menendez's lawyer claims the senator was a fixture at Morton's, chowing down and hopping 250 nights a year. Menendez's Colin must be facing some cruel and unusual punishment, according to Stephen Colbert figures. No kidding, but Stephen Colbert wasn't done roasting Republicans just yet. He pointed out that Senate Republicans had blocked a bill to protect access to contraception. Colbert joked about the Mitch McConnell scandal. According to what we've learned,
Senate Republicans blocked a bill to protect access to contraception. Senate Republicans are hypocrites. How can they pretend to be so puritanical when we've all seen the Mitch McConnell sex tape? Recent polls say 80% of voters said access to contraception was deeply important to them. The other 20% are your high school boyfriend who says condoms don't work anyway and you can't get pregnant in a hot tub.
the comedian used humor to explain how silly the Republican action is. He also used recent polls to show how unpopular the Republican plan is, pointing out that restricting federal access to contraception isn't just dumb but also not liked by many. According to recent polls, 80% of people think access to contraception is very important. The other 20%, including your high school lover, believe condoms don't work and you can't avoid pregnancy in a hot tub. Colbert said Democrats introduced the bill to make Republicans talk openly about their views on contraceptives in response to what they saw as threats to privacy rights from the Supreme Court. It was interesting, but it would have been better if it danced like those guys at the car wash. That big IUD balloon Americans for Contraception put up outside Union Station in D.C. is going to give you a little pinch.
34 felonies. Trump has played the victim. He claims that him paying off a porn star was somehow Joe Biden's idea. And he was asked about his conviction last night on Hannity.
People are claiming you want retribution. Would you do that ever?
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before. It has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
Well, it does have to stop. I would have every right to go after them.
I would. What they've done is horrible and has to stop, which is why I can do it too. As Jesus says in the Bible, if a man strike you on the cheek, Hulk smash.
It's not just about the onliners. I could have stood in the middle of Fifth Avenue and given someone a purple nose, and they wouldn't have lost a single vote. Upon the NYPD regaining Trump's gun license, Colbert was compelled to fire a shot. When Colbert's compared Donald Trump's drug and alcohol warnings to Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign, he demonstrated just how absurd and silly Trump can be. Donnie Diapers has never used cigarettes, alcohol, or drugs. Colbert quickly refuted Trump's allegation that Biden was weaponizing the Justice Department, pointing out that Biden does not control the New York state court system, and that the Department of Justice is currently prosecuting Democratic Congressman Henry Quirk over the years. Colbert joked that those were some strong phrases that brought to mind the well-known PSA from New York. Let's also not forget how Colbert mocks Trump's political nonsense with irony. Colbert Trump parodies now feature a wider range of devious political behavior. More than just the orange turd himself, as was the case with the Senate Republicans who blocked the contraception access bill even though 80% of Americans said it was crucial. Colbert never stops bringing the heat to the political dumpster fire. His jokes have become sharper and his criticisms more biting, and with Trump's legal issues piling up in the Oval Office trash can faster than empty Big Mac boxes, Colbert will have no shortage of material to work with for a very long time. That's all for now, people. Colbert used his trademark humor to bring out their hypocrisy. When it comes to using his razor-sharp wit to scorch the orange dung that is Donald Trump, Cockett doesn't hold back. Targets the core of Donnie's diaper go-finess, leaving Trumpian raged and his dirt-dependent. Carr's verbal dissection of the disgraced Expray is a cathartic release for his audience, reinforcing their disdain for the walking Spitfire. Colbert plays the irreverent therapist, guiding us through the absurdity of the Trump era. His amusing takedowns aren't just empty calories, they serve as a potent reminder of the significance of holding those in power accountable, even if it means putting up with some nasty tantrums from the toddler and chief. It's like group therapy for the politically astute.